It is exactly 34 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Sunday Live here at Citizen Television. We're going to go straight to the interview we've been telling you about with the director of the Meteorological Department, Dr. David Gikungu. Director, good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Real quick, a few months ago, we were told El Nino was on the way. Then it was downgraded to heavy rains. And now we're hearing stories about something entitled Super El Nino on the way. What is that?
We are in a season that we refer to as the short rains, this time round enhanced by the El Nino phenomenon. I have explained a number of times what El Nino is about, and it is so interesting. It affects all of us. It's so interesting that it seems to gain a life with the coining of names, like what I've just heard from you. It's not in our vocabulary. Mm-hmm. Super, El Nino.
You haven't heard of that?
No. That doesn't come from us. Or we could say it's not official.
So what is official? Will the rains intensify in the coming weeks?
The rainfall that we are receiving, it's already intensified. The term we use mainly is enhanced. Enhanced because even though it is a rainfall season, what we are receiving is above the average for the season.
What is the average for the season?
This varies from station to station.
Okay.
Yeah, where you find that there is a certain amount that you would receive in the month of November. Let me use October because October is ended and November is still running. So what we normally receive in the month of October, let's say for November 2023, when you compare with what is recorded as the average, then you can make some conclusion. This particular season, there are some places that receive higher rainfall than they receive during the earlier season of March, April, May. Those places include Meru. But this time round, Meru is yet to get to that extent. So even though a lot of stations have received a lot of rainfall, Meru has received some, but it doesn't match what we call the long-term average.
Director, the coastal region, yes, Kilifi, Mombasa, Kwale, has received unseasonably heavy rains, some flooding in some areas.
Indeed.
How long is that going to continue for, do we know?
This is likely to go on into January 2024. And what that particular place along the coast has received is already higher than what we call normal. It's higher than average. And the observation is that it's likely, there is a likelihood of going all the way to the end of January. And this is not uncommon, because even in a normal season, our seasons normally start around the western parts of Kenya and move eastwards so that the cessation is around the coast.
Did you see that coming?
Yes, we did.
You anticipated that?
We did, yes. We started, we've been monitoring the El Nino phenomenon right from the beginning of the year. And normally you make this monitoring observations up to around June, and there are times it's died off. But this year it's maintained its strength. Around August going forward, it was very, very clear that we were going into a season that would be characterized by higher than normal rainfall, that is compared to the records as I had mentioned earlier. El Nino is not the only thing that we look at. There are other features, other signals, because you may have an El Nino phenomenon that is strong enough, but if it doesn't balance, it's not backed by the other signals like the temperatures over the coastline of the Indian Ocean, the western, and of the eastern over Indonesia. We refer to it as the Indian Ocean dipole. Yeah. This time round, the Indian Ocean dipole is fairly strong. The El Nino phenomenon is also fairly strong. I mentioned just those two as key signals that help us to make a decision so as to make a forecast that is well guided.
So moving forward, Dr. what should Kenyans be bracing for, especially in some of those hotspots you've mentioned?
Whatever effort that can be made, it is necessary to make it. I believe you are talking about saving lives. Yeah, and it's expected that the rainfall season will last its course, where its course is going beyond December up to January 2024, with even the possibility of going slightly beyond that, but that would not be uniformly the case. It would be over some places.
The Met Department has been advising people in flood zones to move to higher ground.
Yeah.
If it continues the way it is, as you mentioned, in the coastal region, what should people in Mombasa, Kwale, Kilifi do?
If they can move to the so-called higher ground, that would be okay. But note that higher grounds are not necessarily the safest places, because those higher grounds, if there is settlement beyond a certain degree of inclination, chances of mudslides or landslides are also very high. The soils are already saturated, and where it's not, where the rock is not very firm, we have seen this. And highlands east of the Rift Valley and some parts of the northwestern parts of Kenya, we've had a bit of landslides, and that's equally dangerous. So we are talking about moving to other places where the rainfall is not as heavy. Of course, people know the places that are prone to flooding. Unfortunately, the northeastern parts of Kenya are a part of that relatively flat land where, when it rains, there is nowhere that the water can run to. Just keeps rising, and it's been dangerous, taken a lot of livestock, and endangered lives also, human lives. So if it is possible to evacuate as the people that are trapped in there, that would really be the way to go. Those that cannot move, there are certain things they cannot do that are normal. Maybe to keep them alive, look for ways of ensuring that they're taken care of medically, they are well fed, whatever can sustain life. That's really what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's difficult having to displace people from their homes. That's what they know. And of course, that will incur costs, especially for government and other disaster management agencies. But Dr. when you're looking at the week coming, what are some of the areas of concern? What should people do in terms of preparing?
Really, okay, apart from moving away, I think we can also talk about avoiding going into harm's way. We've seen people trying to cross rivers or even to drive across them. And unfortunately, we have seen what has happened with those attempts. If we can avoid those experiments that don't look so wise, I think we'll live to see another day.
Or to be clear, which regions will be affected in the coming week? Was my question.
All right. The northeastern parts of Kenya, even though the rainfall may not be as high in the coming few days, the place is already inundated. So we need to take care of that. The forecast shows that the areas around Kitui will receive very, very heavy rainfall this week, extremely high by Thursday, Friday.
What about Nairobi? There was a sudden downpour tonight.
It's a sudden, yeah, we've had a downpour, even as I was coming this way. But the feature that I was looking at that was showing the kind of rainfall we expect, Nairobi by proximity may also receive a share of the enhanced rainfall this week. And we're talking about Kitui and parts of the highlands east of the Rift Valley. When we talk about the highlands east of the Rift Valley, we normally put Nairobi together with that because it is the same zone. Yeah.
So we should get have our umbrellas close to us. Is that what you're saying? Big
umbrellas.
I have to ask this, Daktari, before we let you go, because a lot of Kenyans were asking, what was behind the miscommunication that led to, you know, the back and forth on the El Nino forecast?
I hope one day I'll find out the truth.
But you're the weatherman.
Yes, I am the weatherman.
So was the science wrong?
No.
Did someone just decide to?
The statements we've been giving, what you would call official communication, have not suggested increase or decline or anything that would withdraw the El Nino phenomenon. And all I know is that people have associated El Nino with rainfall, almost to the extent of calling rainfall El Nino, which is not the case. And that is why I take the trouble to explain that it is a signal and it has to be coupled with other signals for it to form rainfall in excess as we are seeing now. Because there are also other places that when we have an El Nino season or event as we are having now, to those places such as Australia, it's drought. Yeah. When they hear that the forecast suggests El Nino, they prepare themselves for drought.
But there's another name for that. They call it La Nina, isn't it?
Yes. La Nina for this region, this is what a lot of times results in drought. But there are other places where when they have La Nina, a lot of rainfall.
However, you apologized for the miscommunication, and as a result of that miscommunication, we saw quite a few people downgrade their response. So you can't say that I'm yet to know what happened.
When I say I'm yet to know what happened, I am saying I'm yet to know the source of that information. But as the head of the department, I needed to state that the forecast has not changed. And the confusion that that information was causing, I needed to state that I'm sorry about that miscommunication. Because as far as I am concerned, as far as the science is concerned, and I have had a chance to meet with my counterparts who also look at the same models that we use for forecasting. And the indication is that we are all in an El Nino season that lasts up to April 2024. But that does not necessarily mean that the rainfall will be continuous, because for the rain to continue, there have to be other factors that are running at the same time.
Are you concerned about the credibility moving forward of the Met Department after this?
I am. Given my position, I have to be concerned, and that is why I issued an apology.
Do you know who gave the misinformation to the president, for instance?
I do not know.
Did you discuss this with the president afterwards?
I have not, but maybe because the occasion where I gave the apology was chaired by the deputy president. Yes, and he was very, very keen to know whether it's El Nino or not. And I had to state it clearly that it is an El Nino season, El Nino enhanced rainfall for October, November, December 2023.
So bottom line, Kenyans, brace yourselves. Is that what you're saying?
Indeed, that is what we are saying.
Okay.
Where the rainfall has not been received yet, the signals are still strong. And we are still in that season, and it is likely to last up to January 2024. Yeah.
Dr. David Gekungu, thanks so much for your time.
All right.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Director of the Metropolitan Department, Dr. David Gekungu, speaking to us and telling us to brace yourselves and buy a big umbrella.